What's going on, 5-9 Gaming crew? Lethal went up here, and guys, we're gonna talk about this expansion pack announcement that Nintendo just dropped. We knew about it already, right? We already got the official debut announcement, but this is the official kind of overview about it. We got a price and we got a date. The date for the expansion pack for the Nintendo Switch Online service is October 25th, with the official price of yearly only at $50 US, versus what we currently have, which is $20 US, which is a pretty big price hike. That's looking at what, $30? That's what, more than double too. I mean, that's a really big price jump from 20 to 50. We're gonna go ahead and just kind of quickly go over the actual announcement here, or not announcement, but it was more like an overview of the actual service. They kind of just broke it down with going over N64, again reiterating that there's gonna be local and online multiplayer up to 4 players, and then they kind of gave again the offerings of what you can see for launch. Pretty much it's gonna be Dr. Mario 64, Mario Kart 64, Mario Tennis, Sin and Punishment, Star Fox 64, Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, Yoshi's Story, and then Win Back Covert Operations for Nintendo 64 games. Now they pretty much, again, they don't necessarily list it, but they kind of give you a quick little collage of upcoming games as well. And we can see there's going to be Majora's Mask, F-Zero, Banjo-Kazooie, Paper Mario, Mario Golf, Pokemon Snap, the Kirby game as well. And then essentially after that, they kind of went into Animal Crossing New Horizon DLC. Apparently this also kind of tied in with the actual Animal Crossing Direct that they had too. But essentially, with the expansion pack, you're going to get the paid DLC, Happy Home Paradise, basically at no additional cost. It's going to be mixed in with the expansion pack. Essentially, you're going to be able to design vacation homes for clients on different resort islands. I don't really play Animal Crossing, so for me, it's kind of whatever. But I did see some talk about how they've had, the last of the free DLC for Animal Crossing, and I think this might be one of the last major ones, I think, but some stuff might have been added from the original, but now they're just adding it into New Horizons, and so I'm not sure how much of that is brand new per se, but again, they're adding it to the expansion pack, so I guess that's something. I'll be honest, worthless to me. Essentially, I'm curious now, am I paying for that if for a game that I don't even play, which is quite interesting, but we'll get more on that in a bit. They pretty much end then by talking about Sega Genesis and how, I don't remember this being confirmed last time, so for me this was confirmation, but for Sega Genesis, you're going to be at the multiplayer online up to 2 players, and then they're also promising more Sega Genesis games will be added in the future. Now, they didn't show, whereas N64, they showed some of the games. They didn't show anything for Sega Genesis, but I guess it's kind of cool to get the confirmation that they're going to continue to expand that library as well. So you're going to get kind of 2 at least consoles, right, being added to the whole expansion pack with the Animal Crossing DLC. But now it just comes down to okay, here's the pricing. $50 for 12 months, or you can do the family value, which was $80 for the year as well. Or yeah, $50 for 12 months for a year, and then it's $80 for the year as well, but that's for the family up to 8 people. So if you got 8 people, you could kind of break that down, but I mean, I don't think I have 8 friends that want to hop into a family account so we can share the the expansion pack and everything. But regardless, you shouldn't even have to look at that. You look at the individual, $50 for a year versus $20, which is what it's currently at. And again, that's a pretty big price jump. And I'm looking, it's okay, at this point, when you have $50, right, for a year for your expansion pack, Nintendo Switch Online service, it's only $10 more, and you have to start comparing it to PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Games with Gold. That's at the point there where okay, there's not that much of a difference now in price. Now you can start comparing, because I felt like the $20 a year was a league of its own, kind of, right? That was the bare minimum. That was hey, you could play our games online pretty much, and they gave some cool backwards games or legacy games like SNES and NES, which is kind of cool too. But now they're adding in, the N64, which I think this is where a lot of people will now say, okay, I want to play those games, or I have some form of nostalgia with them, right? I'm more inclined to play those than I am to play SNES or NES for some gamers. So this might be the entry point for some people to say, okay, I think I want to try out the online service to get into it. But now it's $50, right? So the point I was trying to get to was, okay, you can start comparing this now to Games with Gold for Xbox and then PlayStation Plus. Now, PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold are both $60 a year. Mind you, the expansion pack is $50. However, the PlayStation Plus, they've been promising, as of recent, they've been giving 1 PS5 game, 2 PS4 games every month. Consistency is also very important, and they've been doing that. Same thing with Games with Gold. Every month, they've been giving, I think it's about 2 to 3 games. I think sometimes even more. But they've both services been giving you plenty of games every single month. comparison to Nintendo Switch Online, looking at their track history, it's been all over the place, super sporadic. I think sometimes it might be just one game, sometimes it's 2 games, sometimes there's just no game in between months. I mean, it's been really inconsistent. And then looking at their most latest offering, I don't even know what those games were. What was it, like Jelly Boy or something? I don't know. But the point being is tons and tons of feedback on that, and just reactions to that in general were super negative. People were just not happy about that. And so again, it's that point where like, okay, at least with the PlayStation Plus games and the Xbox Live games with gold, those games were games that people, you know, okay, they had interest in, and there's something that felt worthy, right? Something that was worth that $60 price tag. Keep in mind, for the Nintendo side, everything that they're offering is legacy. It is older games, whereas at least, again, with PlayStation Plus and Xbox, they are giving you more up-to-date, right, more current gen. And even in some examples, PlayStation has been offering you know, games like Destruction All-Stars, a brand new PlayStation 5 game. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's worth a big hefty price tag, but the point is they're giving you, you know, some up-to-date games. Nintendo hasn't necessarily been doing like giving you Nintendo Switch games fully for your whole subscription. What they have been doing, and to kind of expand upon that, they have been doing what I've noticed is game trials, and I never really even bothered with it, because essentially they do kind of offer you like a free game, but I think it's just for a week, and it's a designated week, I think, too, so that doesn't help. And then second of all, I mean, it's one game, but it's only for a week, whereas at least with PlayStation Plus, right, and Xbox, you get those games once you kind of claim them. So again, it's that at this point you have to just say $50, and you don't need to use that service, right? You don't have to have the expansion pack for the game trials. But at that point, again, if you're paying for it, you want to start comparing it, right, to what is PlayStation Xbox offering you, and you start looking at stuff like that, right? And it's like game trials versus like, okay, straight out, just here's the game. It's not really there. I mean, even looking at Game Pass, which costs more money, but at least you know Game Pass promises you, right, the Xbox Live Gold core benefits. They also promise you, you know, over access to 100 games, and also day and day of brand new games, right? Halo Infinite, Psychonauts 2. I think they did the Medium recently. So, you know, they're promising you also just current games too. Now, stuff that the Nintendo Switch Online doesn't even give you that at least the other ones do. They don't give you a reward, achievement, a trophy system. We've talked about this before. I think people have at the point now where they're saying, like, I wish Nintendo Switch Online would start offering more stuff. And I think that's where a lot of the complaints are too, right? It's, okay, you're going to offer us N64 Sega Genesis, $50. You're asking for now $50 a year. What about the base, your base, you know, your fundamental basic, you know, Switch service online, right? Like, more than just having access to play games online, what else can you offer me? And that's where some of this stuff starts to come into play, right? So it doesn't have, and it still doesn't have, a reward system, an achievement, or a trophy system. The big one I think that people finally want to see now is a party chat system again. They want to have the access for voice chats, text-based chats, messaging, or something on the actual Nintendo Switch hardware, right? Bake that into the home UI or something, you know, figure that out, versus having to use that smartphone app that I don't know. I literally don't know anybody who uses that smartphone app. If you use it, let me know, because they should, I think, at least take that and put it into the actual Nintendo Switch. Who knows? But that's something they don't have. I talked about the inconsistencies with the actual game offerings. And again, they are legacy games in comparison, right, to like PlayStation, you know, offering you more up-to-date games. And then I think a lot of people at this point joke about the infrastructure of the Nintendo Switch Online. I've seen people complain about the disconnects, all the issues with like Smash Brothers Online, the Mario Kart Online. I mean, I've only heard complaints, to be honest. And so I know it's a big thing that they'd have to work on too. I mean, I think I even tossed a joke in here, but I was like, Nintendo initially was like, you know, we're only made, or our platform, our Switch is primarily a gaming console. We don't care about stuff like Netflix and whatnot, but they added in Hulu, they added in, I think it's Funimation. They still haven't added in Netflix though. I think that was a joke I had. It's like they're saying they didn't want to do that, but then they still slowly kind of did it. But they haven't added in Netflix. They haven't added in HBO Max. At least the other offerings, you know, they do allow you access to, you know, HBO Max, you know, Apple TV and stuff like that. So again, at this point, the reason why I'm comparing is because if you're gonna start paying that $50 in comparison to what others are offering, it's kind of time to start saying, okay, what does that give you? What does that give you? And oh man, this is what I'm getting. You're literally just paying that. I think when it comes down to it, you're essentially really just paying that $30 price tag for N64, Sega Genesis, and whatever the Animal Crossing DLC reasoning is that they're adding that in. But I guess I can kind of segue into my last part here is, how can they kind of justify this going forward? Because at this time, I don't think it's worth it. I really strongly don't think it's worth it. It sucks because I do want to play N64 games. Will I probably try it out? Probably. Will I keep it though after maybe my first year? That's gonna depend, right? I mean, how much are they gonna change to it? And stuff that I have written down was like, if they want to include DLC, right, into this expansion pack, they did it starting with New Horizons, right? Animal Crossing. Maybe Breath of the Wild 2, right? Maybe the Kirby game, maybe Legends Arceus. Maybe those games will get DLC and they can incorporate that into the expansion pack. I will say though, I don't know how much that still entices and kind of warrants that price still. Like, what happens if you say, I don't want to have the expansion pack no more, I just want to have basic membership, let me drop down to, you know, the basic $20 a year. You then lose, you know, you lose your ties to that DLC. So that's the point where I'm like, DLC just can't be worth it for that price set either. Like, the other thing I have written down is, aside from adding DLC to the expansion pack, right, to kind of warrant that price, what about just adding Switch games? What if we take game trials, what they're currently doing, we just get rid of that and start giving actual Nintendo Switch games? Now, they don't have to be first-party games. It'd be nice if they did, but they don't have to be first-party games. But what if they keep game trials for some maybe first-party games, and then just start giving free, you know, third-party games and whatnot, some free indie games or something. You know, I think where my mind is at in terms of how can they start justifying that price, because when you look back at it, it's really not that worth it. So I guess let us know down below in the comment section, how do you think they can fix this? If not, what are your overall thoughts in general about the actual, you know, price for the expansion pack? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think over time it'll be worth it? Do you think, I don't know, overall, what do you think about it? I can tell you right now, a lot of us here at 5-9 are just like, no, that price is ridiculous. They need to change that. Maybe what they can do too, right, as another way to kind of fix the situation, what if they remove the DLC? If they just give you the offering of Sega Genesis and N64, or they just say, hey, you want a special plan for just access to N64? Let me add the extra $5, you know, to the year or whatever, to add the offering for, you know, for N64 alone. So, you know, what do you think? Again, I want to hear more than just complaints. How can they fix this? What can they change to make this worth it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching. I am Lethal1Up. And again, if you're brand new to the channel, consider subscribing. And more importantly, please like this video if you enjoyed it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.